Once Upon a Time in the West is a movie filled with brutal deaths. A family is massacred, gunfighters kill each other out of revenge, and violence is often presented as a harsh reality of life in the West. But Cheyenne's death, at the end of the film, is handled in a completely different way. It doesn't center around the brutal aspects of violence, but instead, it reveals the friendship and respect between him and Harmonica, and the scene brings their relationship to a meaningful end. Our first indication that something has changed is through a long shot of Harmonica standing over Cheyenne as he sits cross-legged on the ground below him. Throughout the film, these two men typically meet eye to eye. Cheyenne is a gang leader, confident and proud, and whenever he and Harmonica share the screen, there is a sense of equality and mutual respect. In this final meeting, however, the image has changed. Harmonica towers above him, while Cheyenne sits weakened on the ground. Without a single word spoken, the image changes our perception of him. The proud outlaw we have known throughout the film is suddenly vulnerable. Then, with the use of a close-up, we see the pain written across Cheyenne's face. Before this moment, he casually hints that there's a problem, but the close-up removes all ambiguity. Now, both Harmonica and the audience understand that his condition is very serious. We see that he is suffering from a bullet wound, and he reveals that he was responsible for the massacre aboard Morton's train. Earlier in the film, we see the aftermath of this attack, without knowing exactly who carried it out. This revelation ties together an earlier mystery in the film, but it's not presented in dramatic fashion. Instead, Cheyenne treats it with humor. He jokes that he was shot by someone who could barely shoot, and advises Harmonica to make sure that whoever kills him knows what they're doing. The scene combines tragedy and comedy, and captures the essence of Cheyenne's character. At the same time, their conversation reveals a side of Harmonica that the audience hasn't seen before. Throughout the film, Harmonica is often filmed in close-ups with a cold, steeled expression that emphasize his mystery and determination. But here, as he listens to Cheyenne, his close-up conveys sadness, empathy, and genuine concern. He says very little, but his eyes reveal what his words do not. In this quiet moment, the mythical gunman who has spent the entire film pursuing revenge suddenly appears human. The background music plays a big part in shaping the emotional tone of this scene as well. Every major character in this film is associated with a distinctive musical theme, and it is Cheyenne's theme that accompanies this moment. Rather than emphasizing grief, the music feels surprisingly light and reflective, but it hasn't always sounded like this. When these two characters first met, the music reflected their tension and suspicion toward one another. But by the end of the film, through shared experience and mutual respect, they developed a subtle friendship. The music acknowledges that change, giving the scene a sense of acceptance rather than despair. The scene's most powerful moment comes at the very end, when Cheyenne tells Harmonica to go away because he doesn't want him to watch him die. It's a request rooted in pride. Even in his final moments, Cheyenne does not want someone he respects to see him at his weakest. Harmonica responds without words. He stands up, walks a few steps away, and turns his back. It's a simple gesture, but it reveals everything about his character. Harmonica honors Cheyenne's wish for dignity, but he also refuses to abandon him completely. What makes this death scene so moving is that it stands apart from the rest of the film. Much of Once Upon a Time in the West is filled with sudden, brutal, and heartless violence. Death arrives without mercy. Cheyenne's death, however, is treated with sadness, humor, and empathy. It reveals that Cheyenne is not merely an outlaw, but a man capable of loyalty and acceptance. It also reveals that Harmonica, beneath his revenge-driven exterior, has a heart.